The mountains we've grown accustomed to seeing as mere geological formations might be hiding secrets far beyond our comprehension. What if these towering peaks aren't just the result of tectonic forces, but something more profound? Living observatories watching humanity evolve through millennia. This question has haunted researchers, mystics, and now even mainstream scientists, as mounting evidence suggests our planet's most prominent features may serve purposes we're only beginning to understand. In AD 312, Emperor Constantine experienced a vision that would forever alter the course of Western civilization. While preparing for battle against Maxentius at the Milvian Bridge, Constantine reportedly saw a radiant cross hovering above Italy's Mount Musinè, accompanied by the words, "In this sign you shall conquer." This celestial apparition led to Constantine's conversion to Christianity and the subsequent Christianization of the Roman Empire. But was this truly divine intervention, or something far older masquerading as religious symbolism? Mount Musinè stands as one of Europe's most enigmatic peaks. Rising 1,150 meters above Turin, this mountain has accumulated more UFO sightings, electromagnetic anomalies, and unexplained phenomena than perhaps any other location in Italy. Local folklore speaks of strange lights, underground bases, and temporal distortions that have persisted since pre-Roman times. The mountain's unusual composition, rich in magnetite and rare earth elements, creates natural electromagnetic fields that fluctuate with solar activity, potentially explaining some, but certainly not all, of the reported phenomena. In 1933, at the height of fascist power, Mussolini reportedly dispatched a specialized engineering team to investigate caves beneath Musinè after local shepherds discovered metallic debris unlike anything they'd seen before. According to classified documents that surfaced in the 1990s, these engineers recovered alloys with properties matching materials later reported in UFO crash retrievals near Magenta. The composition, primarily aluminum with traces of elements not naturally occurring on Earth, defied metallurgical understanding of the era. More disturbing were the engineers' reports of corridors that seemed to shift position and chambers where time moved differently. Descriptions eerily similar to modern accounts of non-Euclidean spaces associated with advanced propulsion theories. But Musinè's mysteries extend far beyond fascist UFO lore. Archaeological excavations in the 1970s uncovered Celtic artifacts dating to 800 BCE, including stone tablets depicting what appear to be beings descending from the sky onto the mountain's peak. Pre-Roman Celtic tribes called this the Shivering Mountain, a name derived from frequent seismic activity that doesn't correspond to known fault lines. Their shamanic texts described sky metal deposits and elaborate tunnel systems that breathed light. Descriptions that align remarkably well with modern reports of subterranean plasma phenomena and piezoelectric effects observed in the mountain's quartz-rich chambers. Dr. Elena Marchetti, a historian specializing in ancient Mediterranean cultures, has spent decades studying these connections. What's fascinating is the continuity of accounts across completely different civilizations, she explains. From Celtic druids to Roman chroniclers to medieval monks, we see identical descriptions of Musinè as a place where the veil thins and the sky gods commune with Earth. These weren't metaphorical statements. They were documenting observed phenomena that science is only now beginning to measure. Recent thermal imaging scans have revealed geothermal anomalies beneath Musinè that defy conventional geological understanding. Heat signatures form geometric patterns, primarily hexagonal, that shift positions seasonally, aligning with specific astronomical events. More puzzling are the electromagnetic vortices that appear during these alignments, creating localized disruptions in electronic equipment and, according to some researchers, affecting human consciousness in measurable ways. Professor Marco Bianchi, a geophysicist from the University of Turin, has documented these anomalies for over 15 years. What we're seeing challenges fundamental assumptions about mountain formation, Bianchi admits. The thermal patterns suggest internal structures that couldn't have formed naturally through tectonic processes. Either our understanding of geology is fundamentally flawed, or these mountains were somehow engineered, though by whom or what, I couldn't speculate professionally. But Musinè isn't unique. Similar phenomena have been documented at specific mountains worldwide, often at corresponding latitudes, suggesting a global pattern that transcends coincidence. Perhaps most compelling are the parallels between Musinè and certain Antarctic formations that have remained classified since their discovery during Operation Highjump in 1947. Approximately 1,800 miles south of the Antarctic Circle lies another breathing mountain that continues to defy explanation. In 1985, a U.S. Navy reconnaissance crew discovered an anomalous formation that military documents describe only as a geological impossibility. According to testimony from a crew member identified only as Brian in declassified transcripts, the discovery occurred during routine magnetic anomaly mapping. The ice wasn't natural. It formed perfect hexagonal patterns, like a honeycomb structure extending deep below the surface, Brian reported. Our radiation badges turned black within minutes of approaching the site, yet biological dosimeters showed no harmful exposure. It was as if time itself was being irradiated, not matter. The mountains seemed to pulse with an internal rhythm that matched nothing in our geological databases. Subsequent expeditions to the site have been classified, but satellite imagery reveals unusual thermal signatures similar to those observed at Musinè, geometric heat patterns that shift position in accordance with celestial alignments. More disturbing are the accounts from Antarctic researchers who report temporal anomalies near the formation, watches running backward, communication delays that can't be explained by signal interference, and in one case, a research team that experienced a 40-minute period completely missing from their chronometers and biological markers. Linda Moulton Howe, an investigative journalist who has gathered testimony from Antarctic personnel for decades, has compiled compelling evidence linking these phenomena to earlier Nazi expeditions. Multiple sources confirm Nazi expeditions mapped thermal oases in Antarctica in 1938, zones where ice melts at temperatures of -30 degrees Fahrenheit. Physics says that's impossible unless the heat source isn't terrestrial in nature. The question becomes, were they discovering these anomalies or returning to something they already knew existed? Declassified Operation Highjump documents contain numerous redactions regarding non-geological structures and artificial caverns discovered beneath the ice. Admiral Richard Byrd's personal journals, portions of which remain classified, reportedly contain references to an ancient technology awakening beneath the ice, and warnings about entities that have observed humanity far longer than we've observed the stars. The connections between Musinè and this Antarctic formation extend beyond physical similarities. Both locations sit on what geomagnetic specialists call resonance nodes, points where Earth's magnetic field exhibits unusual properties, often fluctuating in patterns that correlate with solar activity and specific planetary alignments. These nodes form part of a global network that, when mapped, creates a geodesic pattern reminiscent of crystalline structures. Dr. Rajesh Patel, a geophysicist specializing in Earth's electromagnetic field, has documented these patterns for over 2 decades. What we're seeing isn't random, he explains. These mountains exist at precise mathematical intervals around the planet. When we analyze their electromagnetic signatures, we find they pulse in sequences that appear to be communicating with each other, and potentially with something beyond our atmosphere. This global pattern extends to other famous mountains associated with paranormal activity and ancient worship. France's Mount Bugarach, California's Mount Shasta, and specific Himalayan peaks all pulse with identical electromagnetic patterns at specific astronomical alignments. Each location shares remarkably similar folklore despite developing in complete cultural isolation from one another. From France's Alien Arc mountain to California's shape-shifting Shasta legends, identical narratives emerge at identical latitudes. Mountains that serve as portals, beings that emerge from within the Earth rather than descending from the sky, and temporal distortions that affect human consciousness. These similarities transcend cultural diffusion and suggest either a universal psychological response to these locations or, more provocatively, a genuine phenomenon being interpreted through different cultural lenses. Mount Shasta particularly mirrors Musinè's anomalies. Advanced LiDAR scans reveal cavern networks with electromagnetic properties that invert at specific altitudes, creating what scientists describe as natural Faraday cages, perfect for masking energy signatures from surface detection. These caverns contain unusual crystalline formations that appear to amplify and direct electromagnetic energy in specific directions, often toward other mountains in the global network. Our scans show these cavern systems couldn't have formed through normal geological processes, Dr. Patel continues. The precision of their arrangement, the mathematical relationships between chambers, and the unusual materials lining their walls all suggest deliberate construction. Yet carbon dating places some of these structures at over 100,000 years old, long before human civilization could have created them. Indigenous traditions worldwide have long recognized mountains as more than geological features. Native American tribes near Mount Shasta describe the mountain as a living entity that chooses when to reveal its inner chambers. Chief Tala Rainbird of the Wintu tribe preserves oral traditions describing the Old Ones, who warned that mountains are sentient beings with the ability to open portals to other dimensions. The Old Ones warned, mountains are living beings. They choose when to open their eyes, Chief Rainbird explains, while drawing petroglyphs that bear striking resemblance to symbols found in Musinè's caves. These are not metaphors in our tradition. The mountains watch, they remember, they communicate with the stars, and sometimes they allow passage between worlds. This perspective gains scientific credibility when examining the seismic properties of these mountains. Unlike typical geological formations, these peaks exhibit what seismologists call harmonic tremors, continuous vibrations that maintain consistent frequencies regardless of external conditions. More puzzling, these frequencies match what NASA researchers have termed the ringing moon mystery, unexplained seismic patterns detected during Apollo missions that suggested the moon resonates like a hollow body when struck. The implications become more profound when analyzing these frequencies mathematically. Dr. Catherine Chen, an astrophysicist specializing in SETI research, has identified patterns in these mountain resonances that match mathematical sequences we use in attempting to communicate with extraterrestrial intelligence. These mountains are vibrating in sequences that contain prime numbers, Fibonacci sequences, and other mathematical patterns we consider universal, Dr. Chen explains. The probability of this occurring naturally is essentially zero. Either these mountains are communicating or something is using them to communicate, possibly with us, possibly with something else entirely. Perhaps most disturbing are the temporal anomalies consistently reported at these locations. From Musinè to Shasta to the Antarctic formation, researchers document unexplained time dilations and compressions. Atomic clocks placed at different elevations on these mountains show discrepancies that exceed what Einstein's relativity would predict. In some cases, time appears to flow differently inside certain caverns, with minutes inside corresponding to hours outside. Dr. Michio Nakamura, a theoretical physicist studying these anomalies, suggests these mountains may function as natural Einstein-Rosen bridges, what popular culture calls wormholes. The electromagnetic properties, combined with unusual gravitational measurements, suggest these locations might be natural weak points in spacetime, Nakamura theorizes. If advanced entities wanted to create stable transit points between dimensions or distant locations, these mountains would be ideal anchors due to their geological stability over millions of years. This theory gains support from astronomical observations. When mapping stellar alignments over these mountains throughout history, researchers have identified recurring patterns that suggest these locations were selected based on their relationship to specific star systems. Most notably, the Pleiades constellation figures prominently in alignments at all major sites in this global network. If these sites form an interstellar navigation grid, activated when stars reach precise positions, the implications are staggering, notes Dr. Chen. We might be observing an ancient infrastructure created by non-human intelligence, hiding in plain sight as natural formations. Recent satellite data has revealed another disturbing pattern. These mountains are changing. Subtle alterations in their electromagnetic signatures have accelerated since 2012, with harmonics shifting toward higher frequencies across all monitored sites simultaneously. This global synchronization defies conventional geological understanding and suggests coordination that transcends natural processes. Something is happening, Dr. Patel acknowledges reluctantly. These mountains are becoming more active electromagnetically. Their resonance patterns are shifting in mathematically precise ways, and the timing correlates with increased solar activity and specific planetary alignments. It's as if they're being activated or recalibrated for some purpose we don't yet understand. As we approach another significant astronomical alignment on April 20th, 2025, researchers worldwide will be monitoring these mountains for changes. Will they remain silent sentinels as they have for recorded history? Or are we witnessing the awakening of something that has observed humanity since our earliest days? The evidence suggests these mountains may be far more than geological formations. They may be nodes in a planetary network designed by intelligence beyond our comprehension, serving purposes we're only beginning to recognize. Whether natural phenomena awaiting scientific explanation or evidence of ancient non-human presence on Earth, these mountains challenge our understanding of our planet and potentially our place in the cosmos. As we continue to explore these mysteries, one question remains paramount. If these mountains are indeed observatories or portals created by advanced intelligence, are they observing us, or are we finally learning to observe them? And what happens when both observer and observed become fully aware of each other? The mountains are watching. Perhaps it's time we started watching back.